So the third requirement of this problem I actually think is the easiest one of the whole problem. They ask us to calculate the selling price in 2011 of the product. One key piece of information that I don't have listed here is that we're told in the problem on page 60 that the total revenue was $594,000. So that's the total dollars we know we sold in the year, but we need to know what the selling price per unit is. So we obviously have to calculate how many units we sold and then divide that total units sold by the total selling price, and that'll give us the selling price per unit. So it's a continuation of the prior problem, because you need to know how many you sold, and you can't get how many you sold without knowing your ending inventory and quantity, which was a question mark in the problem, but we calculated it as 13,000 shelves from the last video that we went through. So here's the formula I'm going to use. It's a very common formula, and this goes back to Accounting 201 and when you learn, and even Accounting 301 when you learned about periodic inventory and how we calculate cost of goods sold. And the cost of goods sold is always going to be the beginning inventory plus purchases. In this case, we're a manufacturing company, so we're not purchasing anything, but we started our year in 2011, so there was no beginning inventory, no shelves to sell because we just started production. So we had none. So how many did we manufacture during the year? And we know by now, working through the other parts of the problem, that we produced 123,000 shelves during the year. So that means logically, and this is a very logical calculation, if I had none to start with and I made 123,000, I had 123,000 to sell. It was how many was available to sell as beginning inventory plus goods manufactured. And I want to know how many I sold, the quantity sold. So here's what I had to sell, and I know that I had 13,000 shelves left at the end of the year. So that's my ending inventory. So if I had 123,000 to sell and I'm left with 13,000 on my shelves, I sold 110,000 units during the year. That's how many I sold, quantity. So we can pull that number up here, and we know that the total revenue we brought in was $594. We divide that by the total quantity sold, and that tells us that each shelf sold for approximately $5.40. And again, this is an average, and the problem tells us the selling price were stable throughout the year. So we didn't give customers a big discount if they bought more, or we didn't charge more to individual customers. So that's your answer to the third part of the problem.